is naturally curly and it's raining today, so it has natural volume.
Love it. Well, Angel, you have a lot of fans. There were a lot of people like really signing up for Rose, are you going live?
Yes,
Okay, thanks.
Wow.
you're welcome. Thank you,
Hi,
Angel
thanks,
and
Rose.
Liana.
Yeah, that's my
Hi,
right hand
Rose.
girl, Rose. I don't see the live showing yet, Rose. Let me,
It's on for 20 or 30 seconds now. It's on now.
oh, it has been. Okay, great. Let me
You look
find
gorgeous today too, Rihanna, by the way.
well, thanks. I think you're being generous, but
I am not.
all right, let's
I see people, I kind of see into people. We'll say that. You have a beautiful spirit. How about that?
okay, I can take that. Yeah. Um Unstop. Why I have to hunt for my own group. I don't know, but let me here. There we go. Just so I can see us. Okay, there we go. All right. So I can see who's online. All right. So yeah, welcome everybody. We're live on this week's Unstoppable Real Estate Investor podcast, and we've got a very popular guest. A lot of people have been responding. What an awesome human being you are, Angel. Lots of people have signed up who are excited about seeing you on this podcast today. And so I want to thank you and welcome everyone for another week of the Unstoppable Real Estate Investor podcast, where we interview the top 5%. There's a high failure rate as real estate investors. A lot of people just aren't resilient enough to really make it through the ups and downs. You're going to fail forward in this industry. There are going to be deals you do where you lose money, make money, or just break even. You've got to be resilient enough to be able to bounce back from that and see a long-term future. If you've invested in programs like Sub2 or Fortune Builders or Carlton Sheets, which is an older one, or Renatus, that's a big investment in your education. Think of that as your college education. And then there's an internship and an apprenticeship, and you have to be educated and gain information and knowledge, but then you have to put it into practice. You have to apply it. That's where coaches come in, like myself, and I don't know, Angel, if you coach or other people, mentors, coaches, trainers, to help you take that information and actually apply it in real life. And so I only interview experts, people that have already proven it, who are successful, who are sharing their unique story from rags to riches, their ups and downs. So Angel, what we're going to be doing is, what were you doing before real estate? When did the real estate investment bug bite you? What was the first deal you did? What are you doing now? What have been the challenges for you as a real estate investor? And then any pitch, promotion, ask. And then we'll wrap up at the end of this and we'll go about 45 minutes. Sometimes we go over, but today I'm actually literally on the final days of a little renovation, and the guys are installing a bunch of stuff literally beneath me, and I've got a washer and dryer being delivered. So I got a lot going on. And so we wrap the broadcast up with me asking you, if you were up on a rooftop and you had wisdom to share with the masses and they were hanging on your every word, what would your advice be? You'll know we're kind of wrapping things up when we get to that point. So there's the sequence and how we do it. So I just want to welcome you, Angel. I'm excited to get to know you a bit. Rose is the one who kind of does all I have to do is show up. Rose takes care of everything. So all the interactions with me have actually been with Rose to get you on the podcast. So welcome.
And thank you, Rose. Much
Yeah.
appreciated. And gosh dang, Rihanna, you asked for a lot in 45 minutes. Okay.
Well, no, it's
Throwing that out there.
it's gonna be an interview and an interaction, and I'll be asking questions, and then there'll be points where we're going to want to pause or I'll interrupt you just so you don't think I'm being rude. I'll deliberately interrupt when I want to emphasize something where you're at, or I think there's more to it and I think it's a nugget that we want to flesh out a little bit. But so, just wanting to start with, what were you doing before real estate? Like, who is Angel before real estate?
Geez. Real estate has kind of been fragmented over my lifetime, we'll say that. But, I'll just go all the way back. I mean, straight out of high school, I did the thing that you thought you're supposed to do, went to college, super excelled in college because I thought that was going to be the thing that got me out into the workforce, making lots of money, right? So I did a double major and 2 minors in college, and I thought I was going to come out of there and hit the business world making tons of money, right? And come to find out, when you don't have experience, even if you have a degree, you don't have experience, they're still going to hire you at a junior level. And at that time, a junior level was about $35K. So being young and you don't think about the future as much, I was like, forget that. I was working at a restaurant at the time and I was doing their books at night. And the guy, when I said, I'm putting my 2 weeks notice because I'm going to go get a real job, right? Because working at the restaurant wasn't a real job. And he was like, oh no, I do management here. I'll start you out at 45K. Well, right there was already like, 10, 15,000 more than I was making. So I decided to do that.
It was a step in the right direction, right?
It was. And then money was important to me. At that time, I had already actually in college purchased my first home. So I wasn't one of those people that waited to do it. When I was ready to get out of my parents' house, I went and bought a home. And so anyway, to know that I could step in making 10, 15K more, I did. And I ended up staying in the hospitality industry for about 10 years.
But you're not going to get rich in that industry, are you?
You're not. But I do want to say, Rihanna, that was my love. I loved it. I loved the people. I actually worked in an upscale place where we had events, and there was always something to be learned and something new, and always new people to meet. And I really enjoyed it. But while I was at the restaurant, I ended up, when it came to me having my 3rd kid, it was like, I can't continue to work 60 hours a week because it is a grind. I loved it, but it was a grind. And,
it's certainly not for 45K a year. Yeah.
Right. Well, at that point, I was making upwards of 60 to 80, depending on my bonuses.
Okay.
I was really good at what I did, but it still was, it was a trade-off at that time, family or money, and I missed my kids' first everything's first walks, first words. My mom got to see them all,
Oh, that's tough. Wow.
It was. So I decided to go the other way. I said, okay, I'm going to go get a professional job. And at that time, it dawned on me, I was like, you know what? I do love talking to people. I have a servant's heart. I love helping people. Let me try a real estate agent. I think that would be a perfect fit for me. And at the time, I thought that was the only real way into real estate, right? So I did. I paid for the course. I took the course, did the whole FBI check. I was ready to roll. And that was 2008. And guess what happened in 2008? Market crashed, right?
The Great Recession, they're calling it. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was. I mean, market crashed. There were the only people that were doing the right thing in 2008 were real estate investors, but I didn't know that side of it yet. Right.
Well, no, a lot of real estate investors, lost their shirts. They lost their entire portfolios. Yeah.
The ones who bought in 2008.
But then those
a lot of money. Yeah. But I didn't know that.
The challenge after 2008, 2009 was it was really hard to get funding.
Yes. Well, and that's funny because that's where I segue to were mortgage loans. It seemed a bit more stable, but still in the realm of real estate. But that was short-lived as well. So it only lasted about 1.5 years. And over that 1.5 years, as you know, most brokers were doing subprime lending before the crash. And it was really big. And that's where you made your commissions and you made a lot of money. So over that 1.5 years, my broker eventually went bust, but I started to see the signs. He started to sell his toys, his cars, his yacht. When he told me he was selling his yacht, I knew that I had to look for something else because I knew where this was heading, right? Because he was trying to save his firm, right? He was selling all the big ticket items, trying to save the firm. So I was like, I'm going to find something new. So I ended up pivoting again. And at the time, Uncle Sam wasn't doing student loans. Commercial banks were still handling student loans. They were backing them, but they weren't originating them. And so that was an easy segue to me. I moved it to the local university here, and I started to originate student loans. Easy segue, basically the same process. So over the next 15 years, I moved up and around through the university. Ended up in my first leadership position there. I took over a couple of departments that were really in the red. And one of the requirements of that was I had to go and attain my MBA. It's obviously a requirement. A university can't sell education as most important, and you don't have your own degree, right? So I had to, while I was doing these things, I was also obtaining my MBA, and I ended up in a C-suite leadership senior position, oversaw tons of departments. Ended up in charge of everything, really, all the finances of the university. So all the projects, all the governance, all the mergers and acquisitions, the negotiations. So it gave me an opportunity to really hone my business acumen, to hone my project management skills, my governance skills. So in 2019, when COVID started to happen, I thought, I'm going to get back into real estate. I've got some money in retirement, I've always wanted to do real estate. I'm just going to jump right back in there. And I did. And unfortunately, like many people probably listening right now, it was important, but not that important. I was still making great money at my job at the time. So I was kind of half in, half out, dabbling.
But half in, half out as an investor or as an agent?
Yes.
As an
I
investor.
started to learn about the investing side. I started to learn about wholesaling. I became.
Is that where you started wholesaling?
Yeah, I became. I did what I thought was the smart thing to do and got a mentor. Paid for mentorship, and it happened to be for wholesaling, and I did it. Now between 2019 and late 2020, I ended up losing my position because COVID enrollments went down, all those things. I ended up losing my position at the university. So I'm like, okay, I got to go 100% in now, right? There's no half in, half out. I got to have money coming in from this point on. I mean, I've got some retirement to last me for a little bit, but I've got to start making money, right? And I did. I went all in, took the mentorship seriously, did all the things they told me to do, built a small wholesaling business, hired the VAs, we're making calls, doing text campaigns, mailings, all the things. And I did pretty well that first year. I made it, well, besides write-offs, I made more than I made at the university that year. So I was happy with it, but
Yeah.
I hated it, Brianna. I hated it.
You hated wholesaling?
I don't hate the act of wholesaling. I love to talk to sellers and do all the things. What I hated was I almost built it so good that now it's like being in a W-2 every day again. I'm working 14, 16 hours a day.
It was the grind of it.
Yes, I
Yeah.
hated the grind of it.
It was just like having another job. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So that's not the vision that I had for me in real estate, right? But I didn't know how to really pivot
Scale it so that
did.
you weren't in it. Yeah.
Exactly. I was doing everything myself. So I was still the person doing payroll. I was still the person doing all the processes, pulling.
And you weren't sure at that point how to build out a team.
Correct.
To do it for you. Right.
Exactly. I didn't know enough about building a team. No, the first mentorship that I was in, that was really never talked about. You kind of were the driver. You were the driver, and this is how you do it. But that was really it. There was never okay, so when you grow, you get this person and you get this person and you do these things. Even though I had that knowledge for many years in business and in a corporate structure, I didn't understand how to do it. It just wasn't clicking with me, right? And so one day I just have to make a decision. I'm definitely internally motivated, I guess. If something, even if it's logical, if it doesn't feel good to me, I know I'm not on my highest and best path.
Good for you for honoring that.
It's hard.
I study a science called human design, and I use it to help my clients navigate to be in alignment with their authentic true self. And the way I describe it is a lot of people were conditioned and programmed by culture, our families, our parents,
Yeah.
our friends, our all that, to be something that we're not. So we fit
Absolutely.
in. And I love hearing someone like you say, hey, yeah, it might be logical or rational, but if it doesn't feel right, that's what I trust. Good for you. And I want to say that to others too, is if you try to be something you're not, it's like you're thinking you're a broken vacuum cleaner when you're actually not a vacuum cleaner at all. You're a microwave or an iron, So I
Absolutely.
love that. Good
And
for
it,
you.
it it is hard, and that going against that caused me to fail many times because sometimes it just seems so logical to continue this way, but it feels so bad. But you think it's the logical thing to do. So sometimes I struggled with that for a little bit as I started to realize,
Intuition always
yeah,
trumps logic.
it does,
It
and a
always
little bit of
does.
faith, and a little bit of faith. But so I was really struggling with that in the wholesaling business because I was making money. So it logically, I'm doing the right things because I'm making money, but it just
Yeah,
been,
but
it's
you're
killing me on the
giving a
inside.
piece of your soul away yeah.
Exactly. It's killing me on the inside. Um, but I kept pushing it off, but as I continued to get nudged, I eventually dissolved it, and I did so with no net, but it came to a point where it felt so bad. I had to do it and just have faith that the next thing's going to open up for me. Right. So when you kind of talk about your lowest point, that was my lowest point because I did probably, um, I could have quit. I could have went back and hopped back into the corporate world,
Would
making
you
six
say
figures at
that's
the
been your
point.
biggest challenge of like the challenge of following what felt right for you and being
Yes.
willing to let go, burn the
Yes.
bridges, burn the boats, and trust that the next thing was going to open up for you?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not just to, you know, say it this way too. It had been a long time since I had been in a position where I was in. And just so you know, I would also been separated from my husband. I just left my husband during that time, and I was always the breadwinner. So leaving him wasn't a big deal. I knew I was still going to make it because I always made all the money, but it was different. Now I have no money. I haven't been in a position like that since I was 22 years old, where I didn't really have anything. And to listen to something that went totally against the logic of being safe and feeling stability,
Yeah, being an
it's
entrepreneur
hard.
and real estate investor and like burning the bridges and boats and going for it, that's anything but safe. You have to have a certain level of risk tolerance to do something like
And
that.
this is
And
where
for
that
some
agenda,
people, doing that, like no alternatives, I have to go
yeah,
for it, really motivates them. And there are other people I would not advise that at all because then they're coming from fear and desperation. But some people, that
yeah.
motivates them.
And I guess I am built a little bit that way, but I just want to say this because I feel like it's really just an honest truth that people who decide to follow this path need to understand. There were many months in there, Brianna. I ate ramen noodles. My electric got cut off. All the things, right? But I never stopped because I knew it felt right. The direction that I'm now heading, I'm going north now, and I can't stop because the minute I stop is probably when I would have had my breakthrough, right? So again, it for me, and I know
It
this is not
required
for everybody.
tenacity, resiliency, and perseverance,
Absolutely, but not everybody's
determination. Yeah.
willing to do that. And so um, one person on my team, Jesse, he always says, it's really just excuses. If you either want it bad enough to keep on going, or you're just making excuses. It's one or the other. So um, this is not the path for everybody. It is not. It's a hard path.
Yeah.
But you take me from eating ramen noodles to where I am now, and
So
it's worth
talk
it.
about that period where you crossed over that threshold of just surviving and getting by. What changed? Where did you go from shutting down the wholesaling and struggling to figure things out, what were you doing in that period? Were you looking for another job? Were you looking for what was next for you in real estate? Were you trying to fix and flip? Were you trying to build a rental portfolio? Talk about that challenging time, because it's easy to talk about the successes, but what really inspires people is the struggle is real, and sharing it, and what the mindset was and how you survived it and how you got out and how that
Mhm.
beacon of hope kept you going. So talk about that, how you got out of that to, you know, back on track.
Well, first and foremost, it was finding
Mm.
me again, because I found myself in the precarious position of, what do I really want? Who am I? And what do I want? Right? Because I did have a lot of options. Like I said, I could have went right back into the workforce, making six figures again, and life was peachy and everything was good, right? But that's not who I am. I have had an entrepreneur spirit since
Yeah,
the
you
first,
didn't want to play
the
it
first
safe.
bake sale in fifth grade,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I knew I've never backed down from a sales position where they say you have to hunt for your food. Heck yeah, because I am going to be eating like a king because I know my capabilities. So I really had to just, it was finding me again and finding what was important to me. Was this important enough to me? Was this journey I'm about to step into, ramen noodles and all, was it worth it to not just take the easy road? Is this worth it? And I said yes. So from that point, you touched on it again. It was really about my mindset. And my mindset at that time, because I was also going through personal things, that it was muddy. It was really muddy. I'd lost, trying to get through a divorce, and stopping the business and figuring out where I wanted to go. It was a lot of mindset, and I'd lost my confidence a little bit. I had lost. I never lost my drive, but I started to fear things that I didn't fear before. So over that
Yeah,
couple of years, fear started to creep back up a little bit.
right there. Mindset, like you lost your confidence and the fear started to creep in. I mean, wow. False evidence appearing real, or you know, and you could do a lot of other acronyms, but it's fake it till you make it. Sometimes you got to manufacture the confidence and the gumption. So how did you get through? That was the low point. How did you, when your confidence was wavering and fear was creeping in, talk about that.
You know, I can't give you like this. This is what I
No,
think.
it was an
Well, this is
evolution.
what I'm going to. I can't.
Yeah.
This is what I suggest for everybody. For me, it was very intuitive. Again, going with my gut. And one of the other guys on the team right now, Chris, actually, it's like kind of like fate. Okay, I had we had an opportunity through Sub 2. They did at one point, I think it was back in 22, Pace did a multifamily challenge. And I had hopped on a team with Chris and Jesse. And from there, that's how kind of got into talking to those guys. But at some point over the next couple of months, Chris also owns a transaction coordination business, completely creative coordinators, and he needed a TC to join the team, transaction coordinator. And it's not something that I did before, but I was like, again, one of those gut things, like, ooh, I know I could be good at that. So I ended up doing an interview with him, and he hired me and all that good stuff. And I'm still there. I'm actually the operations manager there now, but it was starting to connect with the right people. Like, your vibe, they always say your vibe attracts your tribe. That stepping into that, like that first multi-family challenge with them, there were like 30 of us at the time, but I naturally gravitate like a kind of like a magnet to the people who I know are for my highest and best. And that's kind of just where things really changed for me. Just connecting with the right people, people who are honest and transparent and have always your best intentions, at heart. People who, and that's rare. I'm just going to say that in this community, it is rare to find people who are truly like that. And
you have your own internal GPS, that gut, that instinct, that intuition that, you rarely hear someone say, oh, I had this gut feeling and I followed it and it messed me up. Usually we hear people say, oh my God, I didn't listen to my gut. And
you know how
man,
many times I've said that, and people
Yeah.
will correct me instantly and say, that's the wrong decision. You should not go with your gut. And that's okay for them. I know where my compass is. And that's okay.
not okay, actually.
It's okay for them. That's
No,
what they
it's
choose
not.
to do.
No, I'm going to challenge that, Angel. It's not okay for anyone else to tell someone else, don't follow your gut.
Oh no, I
For
agree
them
there.
to not follow
Yeah.
their gut.
No,
but
no.
for someone to come along and intrude on your process and
Yes.
impose
Yes.
their fear or beliefs on you. No, that's this screen
No, you
blowing
misunderstood me.
up. So many people are joining. This is the
Well, Rihanna, just so you know, you misunderstood me. That's
Oh,
not
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not okay for somebody to tell me how to do it, but it is
Right.
okay for them to have other beliefs. And
Yeah,
have other
I hear
compasses.
you. Yeah,
Okay.
I agree with that. Yeah.
So I know I can see some of the people on the screen, and it's really funny at the beginning of the podcast, you said, hey, you've kind of had a lot of attention, a lot of people requesting to come on today. And that's really funny because I actually do. And some of the people I see on the screen know this. I have a very, very small circle. And there's a reason for that. There is a reason for that. I'm very protective of my space and my mental health and my peace.
Good
And
for you.
I only let certain people enter my inner circle. And I'm not going to apologize for that. I'm not going to apologize for that. But I will say, kind of on another token, that the people that I have chosen to be in my circle, we have our own community that we also, because you asked about the coaching and the mentorship, we have our own community, and those are my people.
I just love what you're saying, and the theme. We are the company we keep.
Absolutely.
Your net worth is determined by your network. And, like I said, I've brought up this science that I study, that I'm getting certifications in human design, that is, helps people navigate to be in alignment with how they're designed, their genetic blueprint, make decisions that are correct for them. And what I love about what you're saying is you are true to yourself. You are true to what feels right for you. And you honor your own path. You honor your own truth. And we are highly influenced by the people in our world and in our life, especially the top 3 to 5, those main people in our life. And I think too many of us put up with people because we feel a false sense of loyalty to family or friends or whatever, and they're holding you back. And that you have to have the courage to be selective and clean house and be very discriminating about the company you keep, in order to support you in being who you are and going where you want to go, and support your success, your self-expression. So I just love what I'm hearing. So tell me, where have you landed as far as, are you mainly a transactional coordinator? Are you focused more on buy and holds? Are you doing any rehabs? Are you doing any any of your own investing as a real estate investor?
What's so funny, Rihanna, just going back to you're down, your lowest low. I feel like I'm in my highest high right now. I really do. And I only say that because once I did align with my right path, so many doors opened. And, and I'm just going to be honest for those of you listening, that you should always have multiple streams of income. you should never have one frog in the pan, right? You should always have multiple streams. And over the last year, Rihanna, just everything is opened up. We have the transaction coordination business. We have a buy and hold business. We have, I don't know, the last count was like 87 doors and counting. I know you saw the post about the pad split because I saw you commented on it the other day. That was our fourth one. We've got another fifth and sixth one in the hopper. So, we're just blowing up on the real estate side of it. We also
This
do
is
the
your
coaching
rental portfolio?
Correct. Yeah,
And
and
you
we do,
have
but we do
partners and a
midterm
team?
straight. Yeah, that's third mine REI. Yeah, because I think I dropped all those in there. Actually, I'll do that too while we're talking, but we do that. Plus we have the coaching and mentorship, the REI vote community. And those are my people. We recently just did a mastermind in Vegas back in June, and it was small. We did about 50 people. It was intimate. And we did it right, Rihanna. It wasn't a mastermind. I know a lot of people do masterminds and the goal is to make money. That wasn't the driver of this one. The goal for us was to get proof of concept for us and get proof of concept for every attendee, because we know people hop in all these different mentorships and then they swim around for a year or two, never get proof of concept. They never are really taught how to move the needle one-on-one. And that was the goal of this mastermind. And it was so successful. And the people who attended, they're still talking about it. We did a chat group for the mastermind. Every day, people are still active in this group, and it's amazing. It really pushed people personally and professionally. And it was amazing. The best experience I probably have to put it in like my top 5 of my life. It was just so intimate and personal. People shared things because it wasn't just about the business. We wanted to make sure people understood how to move their business, but it was personal too. What are the things that are holding you back? Where are those mindset stops?
Yeah, and
right?
I warned you I would interrupt
I
you.
know.
Yes, so don't get frustrated. But I always interrupt when there's a point that's being made that I think is worth accentuating or pausing on. Throughout this entire interview, it's about being true to yourself, following your intuition. It's about relationships. It's about being selective about the company you keep. It's about honoring your own journey. And now at the pinnacle of it all, the multiple streams of income. And it's all about, it's personal. It's about people. It's about relationships. It's about being true to who you are. Love, 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 love that. I have coached a lot of real estate investors, thousands of them over the years. I was a coach at Fortune Builders for 5 years. I've worked for Cody Barton, Pace Morby's, coached people there, have had my own coaching business, not just real estate investors, but entrepreneurs. And what's interesting to me is when you coach that many people, you see patterns. You see patterns of behavior, patterns of mindset. And something I noticed a long time ago is when someone is in alignment with their destiny, their path that they're meant to be on, it doesn't mean there won't be challenges on that path, but at some point they'll hit their stride and it will flow. And when you're in alignment with who you are, your truth, your destiny, it all starts to fall into place and there is no longer struggle. Whereas people that aren't really, this isn't for everyone. There are people that just aren't built for this. They're not resilient. They don't have the work ethic for it. Nothing wrong with that. They don't have the resiliency, the determination, the tolerance to risk, and they'll struggle. They might have a modicum of success, but it will always be a struggle. And then there are people that are built for struggle. That's how they get meaning out of life. They struggle through something, and it's that struggle that gives their life meaning. So there are a lot of people, but it is such a joy to come across someone like you, Angel, that is navigating your own journey in alignment with honoring your own internal compass, your own GPS, your own truth, and then experimenting, persevering, And yet also then sharing that, being selective about the company you keep, building intentionally, being very intentional about the people you surround yourself with. All of these are just gold nuggets. Everyone who's on the screen who agrees with what I'm saying, heart, 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 heart. I want to see this screen light up with hearts for Angel and this wisdom that she's sharing with us. Look at all these hearts, like the reactions. Look, just heart, heart, heart. So what else? Like, okay, so you're at the pinnacle of your success.
Yeah.
Now, what do you want to share? What's that message?
Well, I want to actually share a couple of things just to go back to the mastermind real quick. One of the things that we did, and we felt it was very important to do, was after the mastermind to follow up with the people who came and actually check in with them and say, okay, since the mastermind, what have you done? Where are you at? Where are your bottlenecks, your stopping points? What can we do today to get you over that and get you moving in the right direction? We wanted to make sure that they took everything from that mastermind and moved forward with it. Okay. And if they didn't, what's stopping them? How can we help it? How can we fix it and keep you going?
Love that. I love the focus on delivering on the promise, not leaving anyone behind, making sure supporting them in that transition that's so important of helping them actually implement.
Yeah.
Love that.
So after about Chris and I had, and I don't know if you know Chris James, but he is definitely an unstoppable. He is absolutely been my mentor and one that is consistent with me all the time, pushes me to my limits. God, does he push me to my limits? We have those uncomfortable conversations, right? And he's constantly keeping me growing. But we kind of took the reins on that and had these interviews with the participants. And after about, I don't know, it was 30, 35 interviews, what we figured out, Rihanna, and every one of those is they were taking all the things and putting it in the right places, but they kept having stopping points operationally. So Chris and I, actually, it launches, I think it's August 15th. We are going to start a podcast called Operations Rescue, where people can hop on and say, this is where I'm stuck in my business, and we're going to help them fix it. Okay.
Love that.
Yes, because any business that's really, you have to have operational excellence or you're going to fall apart, right? You've got to put the right systems, people, and processes in place. And that's where everybody gets stuck because not everybody has that experience, whether it's learned or life experience. They may not just have that experience. So we are going to launch that podcast. I hope you guys are watching for it. And if you have problems in your business where you're just not sure how to handle, that's what we're going to do. We're going to help you guys through your business problems.
Look at everybody on the screen. I have been doing this podcast. I have been doing this podcast for 3 years now. And this is the first time this many people have actually jumped on the Zoom. It's live in the Facebook group and people are there also. But this is the largest group of people who have actually wanted to jump on the Zoom. And usually what that means is they're your people that want to be there supporting you and involved in the interview. So I just,
glad you guys are here.
I love it. I love it.
Ah.
All right. So now what? What do you want to share that we haven't covered yet?
I don't know if I have any new information to share, but Brianna, this is one of those opportunities in life. There are so many tentacles to real estate investing, so many different ways that you can go, whether you want to be an investor, a wholesaler, a private money lender. There's so many ways you can go, but all of them require sacrifice and consistency. If those are two things that you cannot commit to, either get a coach and work on it or try something else. Find another field, because that is the reality of what we do. And if you can't commit to making sacrifices, whether it's in your job, with your family, and not that you can't make time for everything, because you can, you just have to be very intentional about it. So if I could shout from the rooftops and tell people, something I didn't know 5 years ago, that would be it. Get your mind right. Figure out what it is you really want, where you're going, put the blinders on. If you decide to be a private money lender, which by the way, I'm always open to connecting too, because we are buyers. If you're going to be a PML, then put the blinders on. Find a successful person.
Focus and yeah,
Well, you need to
focus,
find that person. Find
focus on
somebody
that.
who's doing what you're doing successfully right now. Connect with them, and over the next 3 or 6 months, put the blinders on and only do that one thing. Stop chasing all these other shiny.
Practice it to master it.
Yes, you have to. And that comes with consistency. So if that's what I could have told myself 5 years ago, that's the advice I'd give today.
Love it.
Yeah.
Anything else before we wrap up? And then I just want to, and I can't stay much longer, but anything else you want to say before I then just kind of open it up for a couple of people to gush their love at you or ask you a question?
No, today I'd like to throw a little gratitude out there. I worked with 3 of the most amazing men: Chris James, Jesse Stanton, and James Hostert. They are my tribe. They are my team. And I would not be anywhere near where I am without those 3 guys. They're fantastic. We push each other. We learn together. We fail together. We grow together. So I just want to throw that gratitude out there. I just want to say thank you to them for everything that we've built and we're doing and we're going to do in the future. And my suggestion to you all is to find your tribe. Find that inner circle. Find those people that are going to push you to do your highest and best. You can't do this alone. You can't do this alone. So
Love it.
That's
Love it, Angel. I can see why you're so popular and why there's so many people supporting you. You've obviously been a catalyst who has really helped a lot of other people. I just have about 5 more minutes. I just want to open it up. Raise your hand with the button, the reaction button, if you're here on Zoom. If you want to gush a little love or you have a question that you want to ask. No long-winded things because we're pressed for time, but anyone want to just say something, just an appreciation, raise your hand with the reaction button, where you just kind of raise your hand in the Zoom if there's anything you want to acknowledge Angel for, or if you have a quick question. Anybody on Zoom? Carol, you're doing a heart. Did you want to say something? No, you're just giving some love. So here's some comments. Angel is the igniter for more people than she knows or realizes, always loving and motivating to those around her. Best group of people. This team changes people's lives. Thank you, Angel Miller. And to Jesse, Chris, Carlin, and James for everything you guys do for people. Great podcast. Thank you for this podcast. You get deals that we would love to JV with you, Alan Hooper. You be one lucky person and that are lucky to have you practice it to master it. Great. Get your mind right. My son and I are ready to scale. Alan Hooper again. Let's go. Thank you, Angel and Chris. Can you guys be getting any more helpful? Incredible. Family is here. This is awesome. This is great. Love this. That's amazing. Lots of hearts, lots of love. The best mastermind I've ever attended when you were referencing your mastermind. And then Allison just wanted you to know she's got to go. But she just wanted to say, hey, because her son's got a birthday. So I just want to say thank you, everyone, for the enthusiastic support. Every Wednesday, we do this podcast. Other amazing speakers like Angel. Angel, I want to thank you so much for your authenticity, your vulnerability, your being true, speaking truth. I love your rooftop message of it's sacrifice and consistency. And if you can't do that, there is nothing wrong if you aren't built like Angel, or you realize, wow, this isn't for me. there's a lot of other places for you. You could be on a team. If you are risk averse, you could be on a team and make yourself useful there, or you just hire a coach, either in Angels community, or I am a mindset and business strategy coach. Whoever you resonate with, a mentor, a training, a community, get the support you need, or be honest with yourself. Like, I'm just not built for this, or find the niche that feels right for you. I, like you, Angel, found wholesaling to be a grind. I coach a lot of people on it, but it's like, it was too monotonous and grindy for me, even running a team. It's like, I want to build intentional regenerative communities, house hack, and build a rental portfolio and passive income. And coaching. Those, be
You got to figure it out and stick to it.
yeah, be honest with yourself about where is your lane. There's so many opportunities in the real estate space. There's no shame in realizing, oh, I like being a transaction coordinator. But don't let that job limit you on, okay, and I also want to negotiate, if I'm going to be a TC on a team, that I'm going to somehow get a piece of the action that can go to investing. So you're not just stuck in a just above broke your job. You're look for, how can I do this so it creates wealth eventually for me?
You do
And
that by looking for the right people. Yeah, you do that by looking for the right people. Find the people around you that are doing the things successfully that you want to do and gravitate to there. The right ones will show themselves. Yeah.
Love it. Love you.
Thank you.
Thanks everybody
Had a blast, guys, and thank you for all
supporting
the
Angel,
support.
for being part of the podcast. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Love you all. We're here every Wednesday at noon Eastern, have been for like the last 3 years. If you are successful as a real estate investor or some niche in real estate, and you have found, you have a story to tell, you're doing 6 figures, you've made it, you want to share your story, please contact us through Facebook, and my assistant Rose and I, we would love to support you in being a guest on our podcast. We're scheduling into October, November, and December now. So please join us, share your story, get exposure, share the love. There's so many ways people succeed. The more stories we share, the more it can touch people and breathe hope and possibility out there, so that maybe you can relate to Angel, or you can relate to other podcast guests, and you can see yourself like, oh, that's my path. Wow. Yay. Thank you. That's what this podcast is for, is to introduce each other, bring hope, show you that there are so many ways to be successful in real estate.
Absolutely.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank
All
you.
right, now go out there, take action, no excuses, go get results, go get support, take action, educate yourself, practice it to master it. Sacrifice and consistency. Be honest with yourself. Surround yourself with the right people who are there to support you. This is a people business. Thank you, Angel. Thank you, everybody.
It's a pleasure. Bye, guys.
Bye.